Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the XWF podcast with your host, Chronic Chris Page, them no good bastards, Thunder Knuckles, Bobby Bourbon, and yes, if available, Bearded War Pig. And the action starts now.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a very special episode of the XWF podcast. I'm Chris Page, and today I'm being joined by several very special guests. We'll get them introduced momentarily. Usually, as you've listened to our programs, like you kind of know the deal. Like we'll run through our shows, we'll go through our upcoming cards, we'll talk about what's going on in the Fed. This is going to be a very special podcast and a little different podcast. Personal things have shooken up with TK. He's got to go bust some ass at work in real life for the next week and a half or so. So ultimately, we want to make sure that you guys have new content. That being said, this episode, like I said, it's very special. We're going to cover the XWF Television Championship, and we're going to cover it from 2019 through present day. We've got on the show today, TK, always with me, brother. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yep, just pretty good.
All right. Well, I mean, I guess I'll have to get what I can get and take what I can take, right?
Yep.
We've also got on the podcast today. He did not sleep through this episode. Gave me probably one of the best runs and some of the most fun I've had writing in a long time this past week. We have Charlie Nickles, Demos. Brother, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks. Glad to be here. Feeling pretty sore though. My pussy hasn't been this stretched out since Sarah Lachlan worked me back at Relentless. So thanks for that, Paige.
Well, you're welcome.
Mwah.
And also on the show today, very special guest. This is it's a kind of a big deal for me to talk to this guy. I've followed some of his work. You guys know him as Noah Jackson, Gator, joining us from across the pond, man. Thanks for taking the time to chat with us today.
G'day, cants. No, yeah, thanks for having me on. It's really nice to be here.
We've got a lot to talk about. The television championship is we've said it on the podcast many times. Like that's like the world title for Saturday night, right? Like that belt, you carry that belt. You're main eventing that not only just about every program. Basically, the responsibility of the success of the show rests on your shoulders. We can all agree to that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Over the course of time, man, there's been a lot of great television champions. You've got obviously one of the top draws and one of the top names is Gator and or Noah Jackson. So let's start this off with Gator. Tell me about the if you can remember back to when the first time you won the TV championship, and if you can remember who was it against, and what kind of drove you to stamping your name on this division.
The first time I won the TV title as Gator was would have been Relentless 2014, I think. And that was against Steve Davids and this great guy called Socrates, who was just, I loved him. I can't remember his gimmick at all, but he was a good guy. But yeah, I remember I had just a shit run because this was my first ever Fed. This was the first time like RP in ever. And I did not know what the fuck to do. And I wrote the worst shit of my entire life. And yeah, I just got a chance to go into the TV title match. And I just posted at RP every single day. And I basically just did quantity over quality and managed to win it somehow. And yeah.
Was this back in the day when where limits were just
yeah.
non-existent?
So, yeah.
This was all right. Cool. So that was back in the Wild Wild West.
Yeah. Well, not as wild as like your like heyday, I guess. But yeah, it was like weekly shows, unlimited RPs. If I remember as well, the TV title was different back then. So the champion could do 2 RPs a day, but the challengers could only do 1 RP a day. So it was like hard to win it, but easy to defend it.
Gotcha. That's a different spin on it.
Mm. I
Guess
think
that gives that's all the meanings of champion's advantage, right?
yeah, I think Azrael thought up that rule actually. I think because he was he's the longest reigning TV champ. So I think he just like put that rule into place like at some point.
Hmm.
Could be wrong there though.
Sounds like a TK move if there ever was one.
It sounds like one.
We get I want to get into like the more current history. Well, let me backtrack before we even go that far. From 2014 to 2019, how many reigns did you grab in between there, ballpark roughly?
I think for TV, it was 3 reigns total. 2 as Gator, 1 as Noah. And I think that's it.
In 2019, Lethal Lottery
Mhm.
5, it was you and Big D. And that
Yes,
was
that's correct.
where Noah Jackson picked up his first reign as television champion,
Yep.
and went on to have, I mean, looked at one of the most impressive runs of the modern era. So let's go back to that and go back to Big D and what brought that together.
Oh god, that was a fun one actually, if I remember. So I can't remember the specifics, but I do. I think it was Big D versus Fuzz. I think, and I wrote in Noah coming in and like clocking Big D with a kind of Victoria Bitter, and like that kind of like stemmed the rivalry off there, and that got the match at Lethal Lottery. Yeah, that's it. It was the Lethal Lottery match. I can't remember who Fuss's partner was, but Big D's partner was one of Brenda's characters because he doesn't stop talking about it. Um, so yeah, I kind of cost them the win for that, and yeah, that's what started the match off.
And you get to Lethal Lottery, you take the television's championship,
Hmm.
um, and start 119 days as champion. So let's talk to me about your reign. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this was back where the title was pretty much on the line every show.
Yeah.
Uh, so this was 119 days with title defenses. You know, it would be 6 in a cycle. You get your pay per view, your 2 shows in between your pay per view. Sorry, that'd be
Yeah. Well,
4. So
mm,
you're looking at 4 defenses in a cycle. We all know that it's easy to win championships. It's a hell of a lot harder to keep them. So that being said, when you're cast into that role and you're running with it, uh, who are you working opposite of, and how are you approaching the actual title defenses?
I don't. That's a tough one, really. Like, I think when you're going in against like a title defense when titles on the line, like I don't know. I don't change from a normal match. I'm still when I actually cared about RP and all the time, it's like I treat every match as like it's a big match. Like the most thing I want to do is I want to make people laugh, and I don't really want to let down people. But the main thing is I want to make people laugh. So my mindset's always the same thing: just make a funny RP and just try my best at it. So it doesn't matter if the title's on the line or not. I just want to make people laugh. That's all I care about doing.
Well, the Noah Jackson character, I mean, that character can be fucking vicious, brother.
You can be, yeah, at times. I mean, with the Big D win as well. I mean, I got to thank the doctor from Fiverr for that win, more or less. Those
That
videos are
doctor
fucking
was great.
hilarious. I love that doctor so much. Got the fucking Graves put that idea into my head as well, actually, to get the doctor on. And yeah, and it's just I don't know. I just with trash talk as well. It's just I don't. It kind of comes a bit natural to me. I guess it's just call people a cunt, and if that doesn't work, call them a cunt some more. And then backup plan is call the people around him cunts as well. And yeah, that's it.
When you win the TV championship from Big D, can you remember back to who the first title defense was?
Yeah, that was Donovan Blackwater, because I remember I was facing Donovan on the Savage, and I think I was facing him on the Warfare as well, like some kind of elimination chamber match. Because they had it was like a week between TV title defensives. But yeah, I think Donovan Blackwater was the first one, and then it was an elimination chamber match at Warfare.
Jesus, so you were defending the belts on both shows.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I'm thinking it
Uh,
is. Yeah.
Going into, if that was Lethal Lottery, would that have been Snow Job the next pay-per-view?
Lethal Lottery. This next, let's have a look. This was before Snow Job. Lethal Lottery 5. Apparently, oh yeah, no. The next pay per view after Lethal Lottery was Cunt Fest, because Fuzz won it and he got to have his own pay per view.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we get into You Cunt Fest, and I mean, you want to talk about a great show. If you're out there listening, and kudos to Sean, and I'm pretty sure he collabed with you on this. If am I right by assuming that?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
I mean, great concept, and all the way down to the show delivery. Is probably one of the best used and best way to use your, not necessarily booking the pay-per-view, but naming it and giving it its theme and giving it its own personality. That was a great show. TK, I know you were around when Cunt Fest came out. You had this was what, your second pay-per-view cycle at that point, right?
I don't know if it was my second, but it was one of my favorites, even though TK lost. TK went bankrupt that show, I think. Vinny stole all of his money.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Cunt Fest. That was it, like I said, it was a really great show from top to bottom. Who you had your title defense, and I believe your father was also Extreme Champion at that point.
That's correct. Yeah.
We opened the show, if memory serves. I want to say we opened with your TV title match, and then went to the Extreme match, or it was the other way around.
Yeah, open with a TV. That was against Atara, and it was Dad's Extreme title after that.
And then you rolled into what I still think is just phenomenal booking on an egotistical playing field. We booked the tag titles in the main event with the Sick Cunts, and it was Kenzie and
Sarah, 5-2
Sarah.
Mafia.
Sick Cunts pick up the championships.
Mm-hmm.
Between Cunt Fest and March Madness, who are we up against?
Between Confess and March Madness. Do you know what? I actually can't fucking remember.
Well, that means that it probably wasn't worth remembering. We have defenses between there from point A to point B, and then you get to March Madness 2020. Right? In March Madness, the next pay-per-view?
Believe so. God, I need to write my defense history better.
Oh, dude, it's listen, guys. If you're out there listening, I just want you to know that this, not even an hour ago, this podcast was put together. We're doing this on the seat of our pants and trying to cruise through some history real quick to get some stuff together. Throwing that out there. That's why we're. And TK, you pick up the title from Noah. You roll into your first championship match. Who were you defending against, if you can recall?
I can recall. It's the great JB, but as Tommy Wish in a Lucille special, because I didn't get to start naming like what I wanted to do until my second defense. Second defense. But it was a fun match. Like, that's one of my favorites, honestly, because I wanted to.
JB's always been a good friend of the show.
Yeah, I always wanted to. once Noah dropped the belt to me, because that's what he did. I don't care what anybody says. He dropped the belt to me, so I was like, all right, I can't let Noah down. So Tommy comes up, and I was like, all right, I gotta step up my shit. I'm a champion now, blah, blah, blah. So had that match with Tommy. Tommy did great. It's one of my favorites.
Tommy, you go from Tommy to was Michael Graves the next was the next challenge?
No. Azriel Erebus,
Gotcha.
longest TV champion. Beat him.
Then you forget.
Then I got Brian Storm next. Special guest referee was Big D. So that was pretty neat. I was fucking with Big D, I think. I think that's around the time he was trying to be a co-GM. I was fucking with him, so.
I remember that. I remember that storyline because I remember seeing that. Or yeah, I remember he was lobbying to be a general manager.
Yep. Which that would lead us to War Games, and I had a pay-per-view cycle off, but I was on Team Robert Main with Chronic Chris Page. But that's not what we're talking about here today, is it, boys?
Oh no. Let's go back a second because we'll get there at some point. I may let you pass on that one today. I'm not
Good.
sure yet, but it all depends on how we
Let's
answer
do that.
this next question. You started to be able to name your own steps. So your second and third defense, did you use that to your advantage as far as stipulations? Like, what were they? And when you have that opportunity to name your stipulation, and I'm sure when we get to Charlie and also Noah probably as well, you've got to name your stipulation at some point. When you were thinking about that, what thought process did you have? And then why would you do some of the matches that you did? Like, give me those tips on those first two defenses and what got you there.
All right. Well, with Azriel, I made it a fans bring the weapons match, knowing that Azriel has no fans. I basically do things to be a shit heel. So, like, honestly, if you go back through and look at like my match steps, they're just shitty people doing shitty things. Big D, fucking with Big D, making Big D the special guest referee. I'm having to count the 3 for me. Shitty things like that.
Speaking of shitty things, War Games.
Damn it.
War Games. The television's champion in a prime spot. Teaming with Robert and myself. We had Red X, and did we have a fifth? I think
No,
we had a fifth.
We had Russian Rose, but he changed names to Alexi Metaweave. I don't know what his real name is.
Oh, we didn't have Red X. We had did we have Lomo?
Yep, we had Lomo.
Yeah, what happened there?
Well, I role played and I got the job done. And there it is, fellas.
No, there's a story to be had here.
What? I submitted 2 role plays and they were quality. Good.
They were great,
No. Do I need to Noah, do you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember it clear as day. TK posted 2 role plays and he did his job well.
Oh,
you.
wow.
Thank you, Noah. I appreciate that.
All right. I would ask Charlie, but Charlie wasn't here at that time, so he wouldn't know. But I just, you know what? I'm going to let I have no choice. I've been outvoted, so we shall move on. Following War Games, you had the pay-per-view off. You were rolling into, I don't think there was really a program per se with the Collector, but that seemed to be where you were on your crash course for Leap of Faith. But let's talk about, is there anything of note opponent wise between War Games and Leap of Faith that made you either elevate your game or that was somebody that you enjoyed role playing against?
Actually, all 3 of the next defenses were like my favorite part of my run. The draw with Michael Graves, where TK can't sell out teammates anymore.
Yeah.
That was
Hey,
important
how did that?
for the
But how did that? But how did that stipulation get put into the mix?
Well, you see, he died. He died. I don't know.
No,
Thunder
you
Knuckles
do
died.
know. You
I
do
don't know.
know.
I don't
You
know.
do know. If you do,
But that was a finger
but that
poke of doom match.
no. You open the door. You cannot go back through it. You just named the stipulation and said something about not being able to sell out a teammate. Why can you not sell out a teammate?
Because at War Games, at War Games, I tried to sell Team Robert Main out.
Ah, okay. And how did that work out?
I posted 2 role plays and did a wonderful job.
Absolutely. So now, fast forward. You see, you opened your mouth, you put your foot in it. You should have never said that. TK cannot sell out his teammates. Got you. You go from Graves. You had the draw there. Now, was it angled or
No,
was
that
that
was
just
not
a
angled. That was
It was
a rough week at home, is what that was.
I I can imagine.
But that turned out to be a draw, which was great. That's just great. And Atara was a beat the shit out of Michael Graves challenge following that. And then I have a draw.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Define what's the beat the shit out of Michael Graves challenge? What is
Oh,
that?
throughout the course of the show, just Atara and Thunder Knuckles would be trying to find Michael Graves to beat the shit out of him.
I remember. I
To
think
win-
I wrote that match.
You definitely put some work into it.
Yeah.
Noah has a gif of him as Ripley from
Oh
Alien
yeah.
in a mech suit and just screams cunt, and it's fantastic. Check
I love
out
that
the check out the June 27th 2020 Savage, and you'll see it.
Oh, good times.
And then
You
then
go
I
from
roll.
Graves.
Then I go to Graves to main eventing on Savage against Chronic Chris Page in a 3 stages of hell match.
Was that? Did we?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
that was a
yeah.
draw.
That's right. That's right. Got you. That was where I think I pulled the Canadian title out,
Mm-hmm.
and because Page is a wrestler, he's that's what he sells and that's what he does. And I remember back in the day, the Canadian title in my era was held under pure wrestling rules.
Mm-hmm.
So I lobbied that, and I think I had called myself the Canadian champion for a couple of weeks. And we got to that and did that. That was a really good match. That came down to, did it come down to the ladder match in the final?
Yeah,
Ball? Was that
yeah. And
right?
then
And I
ran out of
even
time.
I pulled my belt, the Canadian title first, and it cost me the TV title. I thought that was a really good finish.
Yeah.
From there you go to
Leap of Faith, where I lose to Thaddeus Duke.
yeah. What happened there?
He outplayed me. That's plain and simple.
Oh, he was under the collector mask and ended up coming out of the mask. I don't remember at some
I don't
point.
remember
And
either.
you then get to my little run, which it was just a cycle. I was kind of just there. I got it off of Thad, and I only had one defense in between because I was also carrying tag titles, and we were defending tag titles in between shows too. So my run is that's why Page held the TV title, but he doesn't brag about it. It isn't anything worth bragging about. He had it and he lost it, but there's always reasons, right? There's always shit going on. I had the Wizard, and at that point, they were the Wizard had come in and was like undefeated, and was going into a program with Robert for the Extreme title, and I forget who I was dealing with. Somebody associated with the Wizard. I was doing some sort of side story with at that point. Oh no, I was actually doing a side story with that at that point, from the TV title, through my reign. We ended up doing a draw, and he went on to lose to Robert May. My whole thought process was we had agreed that we would do a draw going in so that we could both kind of save some stuff, and we moved into Relentless of 2019. I will always say was my claim to fame was headlining 2 of those 3 nights of the biggest pay-per-view of the year, and Charlie Nickles will always be able to say that he headlined the night that mattered. Well, that's not for you to chime in on, motherfucker. I'll get to you in a minute. We get to Relentless, and TK, we circled back around. So while I was doing my thing with Wizard, you had joined Bob, and a part of joining Bob was getting a TV title match, and we got to the TV title match itself. And this is where, I mean, I'll be the first one to tell you guys, like, and everybody listening, when you sleep on somebody, it costs you. I slept on TK in this match, and I thought that I had going in that I had it in the bag. I even went so far. This was when I could name my own stip. I named it a hair versus hair match because I wanted to be able to say I took the motherfucker's hair. Backfire. TK, not only does he go over, do you remember? This is some behind the curtain shit right here. When I found out what the match result was, TK, what was the and we didn't talk a whole lot then at that point.
No.
But what was the message do you remember the message I sent you?
I can't remember the exact message, but it was like, "Hey, you're going over. Is there anything you really want TK to do?" I was like, "Yeah, sell the Thunderstrike," and he did.
Now, for those out there who don't know, can you tell me what the Thunderstrike is?
It is a foot DDT that is so effective it renders the opponent unconscious.
So when he tells me Thunderstrike, I'm already on his bio page, and I was so fucking egotistically like, this is in the bag. Didn't even scroll down to see what the finish moves were, and I see Thunderstrike, and he didn't. I said a goddamn foot DDT. So I even was like, "Hey man, can you sure we can't use the Dream Sleeper?" And he was like, "No, everybody wants to use Sleeper." Like,
Yep.
so thus the Thunderstrike procured you not only the television championship, but my long golden locks at that point in time too.
That is correct.
And it started your second run as champion, man.
Yeah, it was short, but it's probably my favorite because I had to avenge that draw.
You would walk around with my hair.
Yeah, totally happened.
So after you pick up the belt the second time, man, who you roll into your first challenger of your second run? Who was it?
Johnny Legend. I really freaking liked Johnny Legend. I don't know what happened to him.
I don't either, but let's let's talk about him for a second, because he kind of just came onto the scene, and I remember him getting that shot now, and I really thought that he had potential.
I did
thought
too.
that
I thought I was in trouble. Honestly, I thought I was in trouble. He was entertaining as shit. The whole memory loss thing. It was good stuff.
You get past him and move into your next challenge. Now, were you able to name your stipulation?
Yes.
Which was?
Extreme Rules.
Okay, so TK's going hardcore. Gotcha.
Yeah. This is for my next challenge against Charlie Nickles. Oh,
Gotcha.
in the Johnny Legend match, it was an alien abduction match because it was a Halloween episode of Savage. So I did not
So
name
you,
that stip.
so you had him abducted by aliens and we never saw him again.
Yep.
Funny how that works out.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll bring in Charlie now because you guys hook up at which pay-per-view, TK?
No,
None.
none. It was on a
Uh,
Savage.
oh,
They gave me the
Savage.
option. They gave me the option. I won a battle royal. I don't know if you all know this or not, but I happened to win a
Yeah,
battle because
is that the one that you threw out TK and Miss Fury and Bobby Bourbon?
and Oswald and I think some other people.
Well,
But you know,
that's lower card Bob. We're talking about Bobby Lee. Two
oh man,
different.
they're all the same to me. All the same, all
Uh,
the same. But I'm kidding, buddy.
yeah, no,
But
I
so
got
I had TK. We had a match. I won the battle royal, so I had the option to pick between the heart title or the television title. And in my promos for the battle royal, I so this we had some TK and I had some beef going into this. But they gave me the option to pick. They had actually wanted me to pick the heart title. Like in the match results for the Savage that night, they had written that I won a heart title shot. But I was like, no, I want to challenge for the TV belt. And they were like, well, you can challenge for it on the pay-per-view or on the next Savage. But I got the feeling they wanted me to challenge it for on the pay-per-view. You know, have a nice pay-per-view fight that has some beef to it, like a couple months of story with it. And I said I'm gonna do it on the Savage before the pay-per-view, just to fuck with them. And so because TK and I had a tag match before that as well. Jim Jimson and I's first match ever was against TK and Johnny Legend. Um, so that was good. And then so TK and I fought, and I was good. I thought I probably might have lost that match, like when I read the promos, and so I had Deimos in the back pocket, ready to do it, have him come out right there. But I ended up winning. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I was pretty happy that day.
TK. You and Demos? Are you and was it Charlie or was it Demos that
I was
challenged?
Charlie at the time because
Yeah,
I thought I
okay.
had lost to TK, and I thought I was gonna have to go to Deimos because I would have lost to fucking Maine, Bourbon, Lackland, and TK like back to back to back to back in like singles competition. Uh, and then I didn't have to until much later. I wanted to go to him, but no. Yep. It was Charlie at the time.
TK.
Yeah. That's what happened.
Yeah, all right.
That's what happened. I mean, what do you want from me?
No, nothing. No, nothing. We'll move into to the Demos reign of TV champion. Who I know, like your situation was a little different. Because I think you were kind of working a tag angle and a tag part two with Jemison. And I can understand where you wish that you had more title defenses with it.
Mhm.
That all that aside, what you did with the belt when you had it, you went from defeating TK. Let's talk about your first title defense. Who were you against in your first run or your first match?
Believe
Rather.
it or not, it was Johnny Legend.
So you got the legend treatment too,
Yeah,
and
Johnny Legend.
were you able to name your stip, or was that something that you weren't
Nope.
able to?
I got to name it. I got to name it.
What
And
match did you're muted, brother?
fuck me. I so when I was writing it, I was trying to figure out what to do with Charlie because I thought I was gonna have to be Deimos, but since I won, I was like, I'll stick with Charlie. And I was like, so what would Charlie pick? So my story, I had Charlie. Charlie, he has a troubled relationship with his wife and his children, and the courts have intervened, in the stories before. And so he sent a letter to the judge, along with a photo of his title, his new TV title, and copy of his bonus check to try to get custody of his kids back. And when the judge said no, Charlie got super depressed and suicidal. And so he was like, I want a last man standing match because I don't if I I don't want to fucking walk out of that, that arena alive. I want you to put me down, and the only way I can get someone to do that or even try is a last man standing match. Kill me, or I'll kill you, because that's how angry he was, So I did a last man standing match, and then I just ended up pinning him anyways, I guess, in the match.
I mean, I've seen some ladder matches end with a pinfall and was kind of shocked by that. But shit happens, and you can't sweat the smaller details at times. You got through John Legend.
Charlie in the match, during the match, Charlie, he got over that whole suicidal shit, and he was like, I love beating this motherfucker's ass. I'm just gonna pin him.
There you go. In character. There's a good response to it. Fuck the rules. I'm gonna do it my way. I'm the champ. I know I said this, but now I'm doing this. Misdirection, motherfucker. You get through Legend, and who do you roll to next? I think does that take us to Snow Job? And was that
I had one defense in between that. I had Azrael
okay?
Erebus, who had won their first number one contenders match. And so Azrael, they were the number one. They had held the belt longer than anyone else. They had 297 days or something. And so that was who my second defense against.
That seems to be a trend. Like we were talking to Noah, like I think he had Azrael, TK had Azrael. You've had Azrael. It almost seems like Azrael's like a staple. Like when you win the belt, you got to beat the number one champion.
Exactly. You got to beat the best to be the best.
There you go. I mean, that's a good way to look at it in character as well. Like it's people may shit on Azrael on based off of work and what's put up versus what's not put up. But at one point in time, obviously the character meant something because it had the longest reign as television champion. Like there's got to be something there to it at some point. And if that person comes back to that potential, well, then that's obviously a scary situation, right?
Azrael's also got a few uni reigns, or at least one.
When you get through Azrael, then we get to Snow Job.
Snow Job, yep.
Is this the one with Barney and the was this the okay? Yeah, I dug this one. I don't know who wrote that match, but I like that how that one played.
It was Marf. Speaking of television champions, it was
Marf.
Who
did he beat for that?
I think that wrote that match, huh?
Who did he beat for that? Oh, we'll get there. Don't worry about it. We'll get there. We'll get there.
I forget. There's something this weekend. It really hurt my head. I can't quite remember that far back.
That's all right. It happens. You get. Let's talk about the match with Barney. Like, how fun is it to write with Barney Green?
Barney's awesome, man. I love Barney. For my whole my whole angle with him, because I was like, well, here's the thing. Here's the thing at the time. At the time, I didn't know anything about Barney before he entered the Battle Royal at High Stakes. And I saw everyone going like buck wild for Barney in the Discord and on the forums. So I was like, I'm the fucking television champion, and everyone's over here wiling out for this guy. So I was like, I want to defend against him because I didn't know about any of Barney's history or any preconceived notions about him. I just knew he was getting hype. He was getting flame, spark. People were, fans of the man. So I was like, I need to work an angle with this guy. I need to fight him for the TV belt.
He's definitely he's got like a cult following for sure.
Yeah, man, and he's great. He's awesome. He's awesome to work with. I had the whole angle I worked with him. I was pretty much like, hey, let's do segments on this show, this show, this show. Let's have the story go something like this, and he was like, yeah, I'm cool with that. He wrote it all. I looked over it. I made some comments, but he was more than happy to like really put the work in and make the TV title. We've tried to do a lot of anarchy stuff with it too, because he was kind of an anarchy guy. So we're trying to really bring the two shows together for the story or whatever. And so we fought. We had a tag title. We had a tag match on Anarchy, not a title. That tag match, Jimson and Nickles versus Barney Green and Miss Fury. And then it ends with Nickles and Jimson picking up the win. And then we go into the fucking Snow Job with the stipulation, and Charlie knew that Barney was a member of Bob, and he was like, I can't let any Bob members interfere in this match, and so that's what he's thinking when he goes into pick the stipulation against Barney Green.
Well, that match was really it was a good one. It was a good one on a stacked show. For it to even have I smoke a lot of pot. I'm sure everybody was aware of that. So for me to remember a match specifically, it means that it hit with me, and it was really good. It was a good flow all the way around. Um,
Yeah, it was the stipulate. Let's tell people it was a what was it? Fucking it was a steel cage Extron death match, something like that, right?
I
Yeah,
thought it was originally billed as like a Mall of America street fight at some point, and then I don't
yeah,
know what it went to, but whatever it went to was really good. But I would have went either way if it was in the Mall of America, because I think we had a show there a week or so
yeah.
before that. Like even I think it was I know it was billed as that because I was giving Vinny shit on the podcast. That
Mhm.
was one of our first episodes. I was like, yeah, we're gonna all right. Yeah, anyway, that's sidebar. You got through.
Yeah. Let's talk about what happened right after the match,
All
actually.
right, go ahead. What do you got?
So, Charlie was on top of it. It ended up being on top of an Extron, inside of steel cages with I think like panes of glass on the sides of the walls of the cages. Because Charlie didn't want Bob interfering and costing him the title. So after the match, after he beats Barney, Miss Fury comes in a goddamn blimp, and Bobby Bourbon and TK get on some jetpacks, and they all fucking fly up to the Extron, and then they fucking go fucking into the goddamn cage and help out Barney, and then fucking TK gives fucking the thunder strike on Charlie, and then Bobby Bourbon fucking Bobby bombs him literally through the Extron, like inside the Extron, and then the next time that Charlie Nickles is ever seen again on XWF television, he's Deimos. And that's, I
So
think,
the
something that people never really thought about, never really understood. Because I didn't mention it as explicitly in my promos ever. I didn't ever draw an explicit tie. It was always an
mm,
implicit, like, this is a thing that happened. Now these are consequences that aren't, you don't say this is why, whatever. But because Bobby Bourbon slammed Charlie through the Extron with all the electrical wiring and shit. The Extron blacked out. Charlie got a little bit of a shock. After 15 minutes in a steel cage glass pane of death match. And then we see
what-
then Namos comes out after that, after Snow Job.
you had the Big Daddy of Violence or the Mac Daddy of Violence in that cage with you.
I
Uh,
did, dude. Barney Green, they fought to the final minute, man. Barney and Charlie, the way Marv wrote it was crazy. They were like stabbing each other with fucking panes of glass, dude. Like it was like some CZW shit, or whatever the fuck that crazy ass people call themselves.
well, it fits for the Charlie Nichols character. I think
And
that's
Barney too, man. It was
yeah, yeah, yeah.
perfect.
Yep. I mean, I see obviously Charlie Nichols. I see as Cactus Jack. I just
Oh, exactly,
and so
100%.
that's right up his fucking alley. That's
Mm-hmm.
not just Cactus Jack. I see or Japan Deathmatch Cactus Jack, like willing to do
Yeah.
anything. Go, we'll die if he has to.
Yeah, exactly. Charlie was like, I watched what Dark Side of the Ring, and I was like, mostly in wrestling, we just see like the good side of people. We don't see the dark side of people. What if one person was just exclusively the dark side of the ring? He never had a. This is what we all saw in public. He was just the dark side of the ring. Fucking terrible consequences of fucking death matches all the time, and you get a crazy ass motherfucker like Cactus Jack.
There you go. You get through Barney. What was an incredible match. And you roll into your next defense. Who did you have?
Fellow Bob member, I think Jenny missed.
Ah, the one that you never talked about.
No, no,
Jenny
no. I guess I
Jenny
mentioned
man,
her in promo 9, but yeah.
I was a little too late.
It was in the rap song. It was in the rap song, but yeah, that was a good one because I wanted my character to be missing part of his ear, like the actual character rep is, right? And
Mm,
so I was like, how can I get there in like a way that seems like it makes sense? And so I contacted Jenny Mix. I was like, all right, I haven't had many defenses. We're hot off a snow job. I want to defend on Savage. Uh, I was like, who can I pick that's a really good person to bring some shine onto the belt, you know. And Jenny Miss was coming off of the longest ever shooting star title defense, right? Like she really put the shooting star title. She literally put it on the map if we're considering the map to the website, right? And if you
Yeah.
consider the map to the website, she literally put it on the website sidebar. Um, so I was like, and she had just lost it. I was like, I'll bring her in, give her a shot at the TV belt in a it was a barbershop chop match. The winner cuts the loser's hair with like with like a fucking hair cutter. And they didn't want to lose their character's hair though, which is totally fair. And so we had it. So I won, and so it went to the time limit. And then after the time limit, you know, time limit champion, you know, champion retains, champion wins, and time limit draws. And then so after the match, Jenny Mist had her Hell's Bells come out, Ash Quinn and another lady, and they took the razor. Jenny took the razor and cut off Charlie or part of Charlie's right ear, like most of it, as well as a good tuft of his hair. And for a while there, they were walking around with Charlie's ear, which is pretty cool. I don't know what they did with it. I don't know if they ended up putting it in the trash, the dishwasher, you know, they keep it in their pocket. But
You
yeah, so
blinked.
Jenny Miss has control of Charlie's right ear.
I don't think they hung around too much longer after that. To be perfectly honest with you, I think that was their one and done segment. You get your draw with Jenny, and you move to what's next for Deimos and the TV title?
Marv, I think it's Marv. Yeah.
Marv, and we know how that one played out. Marv picked up a win, which kind of brings us to current day. So first, I want to get like kind of everyone's thoughts, you know, individually on where the TV title is now versus where it was then. And Gator, I'm going to come to you last because you've got the more experience of the division as a whole, from your perspective from back in the day to now. But Charlie, you've had the belt for 4.5 months or 4 months or something like that. 3 months, 3.5. I don't know. I keep up with days.
134 days.
134 days. 134 days. You've got 134 days as champion. What's your takeaway from it, and what would you say to anyone else who has the honor of holding this championship?
Here's what I have to say. You never really appreciate a good thing until it's gone, man. Cause seeing your name on the sidebar is awesome. Like being TV champ is awesome, dude. And if anyone ever tries to tell you like, oh, it's the TV belt, you know, look around at what's their waist and then formulate your color, you know, your fucking retort based off that. And if you're the TV champ, man, just fucking flex on people, man, and pick people to challenge you. Like I don't know, I tried to pick people to challenge against because sometimes their opponents were. I was never given like a list of options or even an opponent. Right, the only opponent I was ever even given by management was not to not to say they're bad, like they're great. They let me pick who I wanted to defend against. They thought they were good opponents, right? So I was like trying to carve out some stories, pick some quality opponents to defend against. I see we have Marsh versus Andre Dixon at the Mayday, which I think will be a great match, right? So like keep picking. Make sure you're fighting good. If management gives you someone to fight that you think is like maybe not deserving of a match, don't be afraid to be like, hey, I want a better contender. Don't puss out and be like, I don't think they should fight for the television belt. They're too tough. But be like, hey, you know what? That person sucks. I'll take an even better person. Like, I don't know. Just try to flex on people and try to make it a world class belt.
TK man, let's shoot over to you. You've saw it from Noah's End through present day.
Man, TV title was my favorite part, except for now being tag champs is my favorite part. But before that, TV champion was the bee's fucking knees. Getting to defend every week, that was some fun stuff.
Noah, you've seen it pretty much all in the division. So how are you feeling about where it's come to versus where it was when you first got your first title?
I mean, right now it's like nice to see like where it's at. Like, I still think it's kind of held in like a good regard right now. I mean, back in like 2014 when I was TV champion, like they had to retire the title because it was losing a bit of interest, and I don't know. I used to be good and people couldn't beat me, so that was nice. But yeah, right now it was like it's a good standing at the moment. And it's a great title, and it shows people that you are a workhorse. And yeah, and I love that people can pick their own steps for it now. I think that's such a great little enhancement to it.
It gives you the creative direction to really have a good match
Hmm.
based off of your character versus who you're going up against, and it kind of does give you that champion's advantage without, back in your time where you could, or back in the day when you first peeled the belt, you were talking earlier, where you could post 2 role plays to their 1
Hmm.
or what have you. Overall, though, I think the TV title division as a whole, I mean, I don't like, it's easy in character to say, yeah, it's just a television championship. But when you really take a step back and you take that big picture shot, that TV championship is a gateway championship to bigger and better things. It always has been. When you get, let's use TK for an example. He picked up the TV championship, moved on to the tag title situation. Back in your day, Gator, you had the TV championship, and then you moved into the uni at some point, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
That opens up so many doors for you to do some serious shit with your character. And I think that the division itself right now, depending on how characters are built, is only going to get bigger and it's only going to get better.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Yeah, it is like it's like the best gateway drug there is on the site. Like you get the TV, you hold it for a while, and then you do move on. Like no matter what, like you move on to better things after it. Like I mean, you look at TK, you look at Charlie, you look at other people who've held a TV title for a good length of time, and 9 times out of 10 they have escalated to a whole new level from when they were holding it.
I also think the TV division, if you consider the TV title to be like the Savage title, I think the division as a whole, like, from the bottom to the top, is stronger now than it's ever been. Because we got some people competing on Savage who didn't, always used to compete on Savage. Not just Marv because he's the champion, but we're seeing, Corey Smith fight a lot more on Savage now, too. I think Corey might really be a TV title kind of guy if he wants to get into that. And then you got Andre Dixon, right, who's just coming in looking hot in the TV title belt. And then you
Andre.
got also all the classic people still there, right? Like the division, I think, as a whole, I think it's meatier now though, because the
Mm.
Savage cards are stronger, I think, than they were when I first came in, at least. 'Cause I think the XWF has grown, which means the TV division's grown even more strong as a whole.
It's great to see the whole way around. My conversations that I have with anybody is, all right, if you're gonna do something, then do it right and do it all in. I think that over the last year and a half to 2 years, the TV title has, I mean, outside of Thad, we're talking to everyone on this podcast. We are your TV champions for the last fucking 18 months. You have Noah, you have TK, Thad's the only one that's not present. You have me, and you have Charlie. I mean, this is exclusive company. If I do say so myself. Something that I want to talk about for a second here is the top 5 the top 5 title runs within the XWF. Um, Charlie, you're gonna have to tell me again. How many days were you?
134, I believe.
Okay,
It's in the 130s. I think it's 134.
we're gonna call it 134. So if that's the case, then you have your number 4 or your number 5. There's a 2-way tie. You've got Noah Jackson and you've got Thunder Knuckles, both with 119 days.
Hmm.
Uh, Number 4 would be Neville Sinclair, who has 126 days. The third longest reigning is going to be Charlie Nickles Demos. We'll say 130 days or 132 days. Mastermind had 129 days at number 2, and Azrael Ubris is the number 1 with 297 days total as TV champion. Noah, real quick, I'm not familiar with the Neville Sinclair character. Would you happen to have any insight on him?
I actually don't. So yeah, 2017 to 2018. So that was the time when I wasn't part of the XWF. I came back. I would have come back when he was stopping being TV champion, and I think if I remember, that was when we were on the pro boards, and that's when we lost like a lot of people. So I think he was just left when I came back to the XWF.
Gotcha.
But I don't know anything about Neville Sinclair.
Gotcha. Just thought I'd throw that out there and ask. But this is exclusive company. Like, 3 of you guys out of the 4, I'm the odd man out here, are in the top 5 for the longest reigns of being TV champion. So for that, kudos to all 3 of you guys.
We're sick as fuck.
Dankeschön.
We're sick cunts.
We are sick cunts.
What a fucking sick cunts, lads.
Well, I mean, I guess, guys, we're gonna.
Should we all submit a segment where we go beat the piss out of the current TV champion just for fun? Nah, I'm playing.
We're not gonna do that. No. Guys,
Mark, write your counterattack now, because if you write that counterattack, you'll look so strong.
Yeah, I'll come in with Noah and Gator, so it's like a 4 versus 1 as well. Yeah.
Then they're fucked. That's all there is to it. Guys, I appreciate the time tonight to get this done and kind of just throw some shine onto the division itself and the championship itself. Gator, I know that you're coming from us across the pond. I really appreciate you taking some time to talk to us.
Anytime.
We're gonna have to set up a podcast episode with you in the future, sir.
I'll love that.
It's gonna happen. Is there anything you want to say to everybody on our way out to close this one out?
2 words. Sean Warstein.
You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch.
Ding.
Charlie, man, anything you want to holler out at to anybody on our way out?
Workers, the world unite. You have nothing to lose but them thick ass hoes.
Jesus Christ. Thunder Knuckles, man.
I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Noah, thank you for coming. Charlie, thank you for coming. Everybody have a good night.
Guys, on behalf of everyone on the show, we hope that we entertained you and you had a good time this evening with us. We will definitely see you next time. It's for Charlie, for Noah, for TK, man. This is Chris Page. We're saying good night. And Vinny, take us out.
All right, guys. Well, once again, for today and forever, as always, fuck you, Ghost Tank.
Thanks for listening to the XWF podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the XWF YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at XWF1999. And don't forget to check us out at XWF99.com. Be sure to join us next time where the action never slows down.